Have you ever seen her smile, then suddenly wonder, what is she thinking about? You're right next to her, but it feels like her thoughts are far away. Now imagine this. What if that thought in her head was you? Not just once, but over and over again. Like a song she can't stop playing. Like a story that never leaves her mind. Like a puzzle she wants to solve, but can't quite finish. Now that's real attraction. Not forced, not fake, but deep, quiet, unshakable. And guess what? Most guys will never understand how to get there. Let's be real for a second. A lot of men are told lies. They hear things like, you have to chase her. You need to always be available. Give more. Text more. Prove yourself. So they do it. And what happens? They get tired. They get confused. They get left. Why? Because they're doing too much. They're giving everything. Too soon. Too fast. And it makes them forgettable. Here's something no one tells you. You don't stay in her mind by being everywhere. You stay in her mind by being a mystery. Think about it. What do people think about the most? Not the things they already understand, but the things they can't figure out. So how do you become that kind of man? Not by being cold, not by being mean, but by being still, strong, and full of purpose. You stop trying to be perfect. You stop needing to be picked. You stop chasing, and instead, you let her feel your calm. You let her feel your space. You let her wonder where your mind is, even when you're smiling at her. That silence, that space, it speaks louder than words. It says, I'm not here to impress, I'm here to live. And that is when she starts thinking, who is he really? Why doesn't he act like the others? What is he doing when he's not with me? And slowly, you become a thought she can't shake. Not because you're trying to be one, but because your life is already full. Because your heart is already calm. Because you're not waiting for her to make you feel whole. You already are. That is real power. That is the beginning of something rare. And that is how she starts looping you in her head, again and again and again. Now the real question is, are you ready to learn how to make her feel your presence, even in your absence? Nay, become a thought loop in her head. Here's how. Have you ever walked away from someone only to find that they stayed in your head all day? It's strange, right? You're doing something simple, brushing your teeth, tying your shoes, walking down the street, and boom, their face just pops up. Their voice, their energy, their presence. Now imagine if you could become that for her. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because your energy lingered. Let's break this down. Women don't get stuck on men who are easy to figure out. They don't crave the guy who always says yes, who always texts back right away, who gives all his time, even when he has nothing left for himself. They get addicted to the energy of a man who feels like he's on a mission, a man who could be sitting right next to her and still be thinking about his dreams, still focused on something bigger than the moment. You know why that pulls her in? Because it makes her ask, where does his mind go when he's silent? What is he building that I don't see? Why does he feel so calm, so sure, even when I don't give him all my attention. That kind of mystery, that kind of focus, it makes her heart race in quiet ways. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to do tricks. You don't need to prove a single thing. You just need to value your energy so deeply that you never give it all away too fast. Let her come into your world little by little. Let her feel the gravity of your presence. Because when a man protects his time, when he protects his focus, he becomes rare. And when something is rare, people don't forget it. They replay it over and over until it becomes a loop. Now listen closely. When she feels you're not always available, when she knows you're living your life fully, when she sees you're not rushing to impress, something powerful happens. She starts to lean in, not with her body, but with her thoughts. She starts searching for more of your energy, even when you're not around. This is not about playing hard to get. This is about being hard to forget. And that only happens when you stop giving everything away on day one. She doesn't want all of you right away. She wants to feel you unfolding, layer by layer. She wants to guess what you're thinking. She wants to feel the thrill of not knowing everything. And guess what? If you give her that, you'll live rent-free in her mind for a long, long time. What if I told you, the less you try to impress her, the more she thinks about you? Sounds backwards, right? But here's a secret no one tells you. The quiet man, the one who doesn't always speak first, doesn't always explain, and doesn't rush to be seen, stays in her mind longer than the loudest guy in the room. Why? Because silence leaves space for wonder. Let's look at this clearly. Most guys think they have to say a lot to be remembered. They think they have to show off, talk big, post often, always be seen. But the truth, the man who says less but moves with purpose, that's the man she keeps thinking about when she's alone. Picture this. You're at a small dinner party. You don't talk much. You just listen. You say a few words, carefully chosen. You smile, maybe once. You leave early. Guess what happens later that night? Someone texts her, someone jokes, someone posts. But her thoughts, they go to you. Why didn't he say more? What was he thinking? Why do I feel curious and kind of pulled in? You didn't try to be seen, but now you're all she sees in her mind. This is what I call presence in absence. When you're around, your calmness speaks louder than words. When you're gone, your silence echoes. And the echo, it creates a thought loop. She begins to connect you with mystery, with control, with something she wants to understand but can't. And that drives her wild inside. Here's the deeper truth. People don't obsess over what they fully understand. They obsess over what feels just out of reach. And that's what makes you different. Not cold, not rude, just unexplainable. Now listen carefully. When you don't try too hard, when you don't rush to fix her moods, when you don't chase every time she pulls away, you start to build something rare. Mental gravity. She starts to think of you even when she doesn't want to. Not because you forced it, but because your energy was felt, not pushed. And here's the best part. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to act mysterious. You just need to value your energy so deeply that you don't offer it carelessly. That's what pulls her in. That's what keeps you on a loop in her mind. Have you ever watched fire? It's warm, bright, full of energy, but try to grab it. It disappears. Try to hold it too tight. You get burned. That's how attraction works. When you're too easy to reach, you're no longer a fire. You're just a flashlight. Let's talk about the magic of space. Most men want to stay close. They text all day. They check in. They say, "I just wanted to hear your voice." Sounds sweet, right? But slowly, the mystery fades. The spark dies. You become predictable. And once that happens, her mind stops spinning. Why? Because there's no unknown left. Here's the truth. The mind is drawn to gaps. When there's silence, the brain fills it. When there's space, the heart wanders. And when there's a pause, desire is born. That's why absence works. Not to play games, not to be mean, but to give room for her to feel. Let's say you don't reply right away. Not because you're angry, not because you're pretending, but because you're busy building your life. That delay, it creates tension. A sweet tension, the kind that says dash dash. This man has things going on. He's not just sitting around waiting for me. Now guess what? She starts checking her phone. She starts thinking, is he okay? What's he up to? Why do I feel this weird pull? That's the loop beginning. You are no longer just him. You are a mystery. You are a feeling. You are something she wants to figure out, but can't, because your life doesn't revolve around her. And strangely enough, that makes her want to be part of it even more. She doesn't want a man with nothing going on. She wants a man with direction. She wants a man whose time is earned, not given away. That's not cold. That's power. Power that feels peaceful, not loud, calm, but strong. And that, my brother, is what makes you unforgettable. So ask yourself, when you leave the room, do you leave a question behind? Or do you leave nothing at all? Because if she knows exactly what you'll do next, she'll stop thinking about you. But if there's even the tiniest piece of mystery left, she'll play that scene over and over in her head. Want to know how your purpose adds to this effect, making you more magnetic without saying a single word? Should we dive into the next stage? Let me know if you're ready for that next shift in power. What if I told you she doesn't fall for the guy who gives her the most attention? She falls for the guy who gives his attention to something bigger than her. Yes, your mission is your magnet. Let's slow down and think about something powerful. Have you ever seen a man so focused that everything around him goes quiet? Like an artist painting, like an athlete training, like a lion walking alone through the wild. That man is not chasing, he is creating, he is building, and that right there is when people notice him most, including women. Here's the wild part. She doesn't want to be your whole world. She wants to join a world that's already spinning. She wants to feel like being with you is a ride, not a rescue mission. When you live for your purpose, something magical happens. You stop trying to impress her. You stop needing her to say, "Good job," or "Please don't leave me," because you're already full. You don't need her to complete your story. You're just inviting her to be part of the chapter. That changes everything. Now here's what most men do wrong. They meet a woman, they like her, and then they throw everything else away. Friends, goals, routines, dreams. They think, if I give her all of me, she'll love me more. But the opposite happens. She gets bored. She feels pressure. She thinks, why does he have nothing else going on? And slowly she starts to drift. Now flip that. You stay focused. You keep building. You go to the gym. You work on your skills. You keep showing up for your life, with or without her. She starts to feel something different. She feels like she has to earn a place in your world. Not because you're playing games, but because you're serious about your life. And the truth is, that's rare. That's the man she keeps thinking about. That's the man she tells her friends about. That's the man she starts chasing in her mind. A man with a mission. He's never easy to forget because she doesn't just feel your presence. She feels your direction. She doesn't just see your face. She sees your path. And that path is the loop that spins in her head. So are you walking your path or just standing still, hoping she notices you? What if your emotions are the final piece in this loop? What if staying calm is what makes you powerful in her eyes? What if your calm silence could speak louder than 1,000 words? What if the way you handle your emotions is the reason she can't stop thinking about you? Let's explore that. Have you ever seen a man lose control? Maybe he shouted. Maybe he begged. Maybe he acted like a child when things didn't go his way. Did he look strong? Did he look powerful? He looked weak because he let his feelings become his master. But the man she can't stop thinking about, he's different. He feels everything, but he doesn't let everything control him. Imagine this. You're with her. Something goes wrong. Maybe she tests you. Maybe she gives you attitude. Maybe she says something just to see your reaction. But instead of getting mad, you pause, you breathe, you stay calm. She expects you to panic. She expects you to react. But you don't. You just sit in the storm, still, strong. Now she starts wondering, why didn't he get mad? Why is he so calm? What is going on in his mind? And just like that, you become a thought loop. Not because you said something clever. Not because you raised your voice. But because you didn't lose yourself. You stayed grounded, centered, like a mountain. And mountains don't chase. Mountains don't cry. Mountains don't break. They stand. When you're a man who feels but controls, she starts to feel something new. She feels safe. She feels drawn in. She feels like she's with someone rare. You don't have to pretend to be heartless. You just need to be anchored. Feel it? Yes. React to everything? Because the strongest man is the one who doesn't have to prove it. He just is. This is how your silence becomes her noise. This is how your calm becomes her curiosity. She thinks about you because she can't figure you out. And the mystery, that's what makes her crave more. Now here's the next question. If she starts chasing your calm, what happens when she realizes you don't chase anything? What if being rare made her obsessed? What if the less she sees you, the more her mind whispers your name again and again? Let's be honest. Most guys think being around all the time, texting every hour, showing up every day, makes a woman like them more. But it doesn't. It makes them easy to figure out. It makes them too available. And when something is always there, it loses its value. Think about it. If you had chocolate every single day, every single hour, would you still crave it? Number. You'd get bored. It wouldn't feel special anymore. But what if you only had it once a week? Wouldn't you think about it all the time? Wouldn't you wait for it? That's how scarcity works. Scarcity doesn't mean you're playing games. It means you're focused on your life. It means you don't need to be seen every second to feel important. You're busy. You have things to do. You have goals. You have dreams. You are not available to everyone all the time, and that makes you rare. And rare means valuable. Now here's the wild part. When she can't always reach you, her mind starts racing. Where is he? What is he doing? Why isn't he calling me first? Did I do something wrong? Why does he feel so far away? Even when he's close. And boom, you're inside her head. Not because you said something perfect. Not because you chased her. But because you didn't. You gave space. And space makes people lean in. She doesn't miss the guy who's always around. She misses the guy who makes his time feel like a gift. She starts thinking, when will I see him again? Does he miss me? Why do I want him more than he wants me? And guess what? That's the loop. You're in her mind now. She doesn't even know how you got there, but you're stuck in her thoughts like a favorite song she can't stop humming. So remember this. You don't become unforgettable by being everywhere. You become unforgettable by being rare and real. You don't chase attention. You earn desire by being a man with a full life. A life that she wants to be a part of, not the center of. What if the secret wasn't in what you say, but in how calm you stay when others lose control? Let me tell you something powerful. Most guys break when things feel off. She doesn't text back. They panic. She acts cold. They chase harder. She seems distant. They try to fix everything, but the man who becomes a thought loop in her head. He doesn't chase storms. He becomes the calm inside them. Women don't remember the guy who begged. They remember the man who stayed strong, steady, and calm, even when things got messy. That calm, it's not coldness, it's power. When you're calm, she starts wondering, how can he stay so cool? Doesn't he care? Why isn't he reacting? Why do I feel more nervous than him? Boom. You're back in her head. See? When you master your emotions, something wild happens. You become unshakable. You don't yell. You don't chase. You don't beg. You breathe. And in your silence, she starts hearing everything louder. Your stillness makes her nervous. Your peace feels like mystery. She wonders if you've moved on, if you're thinking about her, if someone else has your attention. That's the power of emotional mastery. Let her feel the silence. Don't rush to explain yourself. Don't rush to fix things. Let her feel your peace, because your peace is what pulls her back in. Most guys create noise, but you create stillness. And in that stillness, she starts craving your presence again. Not because you forced anything, but because your peace became the loudest thing in her world. Now, Want to know the secret to building real confidence? Not fake confidence. Not loud, show off, look at me confidence. But the quiet, deep kind that keeps you grounded when everyone else is shaking. What if the thing that makes her think of you every day is the fact that you're not trying to impress her at all? Let's break a big myth right now. Most people think confidence is about acting big, wearing cool clothes, showing off money, being loud in a crowd. But guess what? That's not real confidence. That's just a costume. Real confidence, it's quiet. It walks into a room and doesn't need everyone to notice. It speaks slow. It listens more than it talks. And here's the wild part. Real confidence doesn't even need her. When you know who you are, you don't chase attention. You don't need people to clap for you. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. That's when you start to glow differently. People feel it. She feels it. And that's how you become a loop in her mind. Because you're not begging to be remembered. You just are. Women can feel the difference. They feel when a guy is chasing approval. They feel when he's scared to be alone. They feel when he's trying too hard. But they also feel when he's calm, centered, and free from needing her. That kind of man, he gets stuck in her thoughts without even trying. Why? Because he's rare. Because he's not trying to be anything. He's just him. That's real confidence. Not bought, not faked, not loud. Just solid, peaceful, and full of purpose. A man like that is like a mystery she can't solve. He shows up, but doesn't explain himself. He gives, but never overgives. He likes her, but doesn't need her. That kind of man becomes a story in her head, a feeling she keeps coming back to, a name she whispers when she's alone, even if she doesn't understand why. Now here's the final piece. Do you want to know how to turn your absence into a feeling she can't escape? Do you want to make her miss you deeply, even when you're completely silent? That secret is coming up next. What if I told you the quiet power of doing less is the very thing that makes her want you more? Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Here's the secret you won't hear from most guys. When you live your own full life, busy, excited, and moving forward, your absence isn't emptiness. It's a signal. A signal that you're not waiting around. That you have your own world, your own dreams and goals, that you're chasing. And guess what? That makes you magnetic. She doesn't want a man who is always there, begging for attention. She wants a man who is there, but only when he chooses to be. This is not about playing games or being mean. It's about showing her that you're not defined by her approval. You are a man with a purpose, a man with value. When she notices that you don't drop everything to answer her every call or text, something powerful happens inside her mind. She starts to wonder, what is he doing? Why isn't he waiting around? What's so important that he can't just be here? That mystery pulls her in. It creates a loop, a thought cycle, where she keeps thinking about you. And this loop, it's not about confusion or stress. It's about respect and curiosity. It's about wanting to be part of your life, not controlling it. Here's what you must remember. You don't have to change who you are. You just have to stop trying to be what you think she wants. Live your life fully. Focus on your goals, your friends, your passions. Create space. Be real. When you do this, your absence isn't empty. It's full of meaning. It's full of strength. It's full of power. And that power, that's what makes her feel like she can't stop thinking about you. So now you know the secret to becoming a thought loop in her head. It's not force. It's not chasing. It's simply being the man who lives first and lets her want to be part of that. Are you ready to start living like that? To build that power quietly inside you? Because when you do, everything changes. The choice is yours.